So welcome to our first virtual event. My name is Kojo Kokochi. I am Shared Interest Foundation Manager based in Accra, Ghana, in the West African region. As you can see on your screens, the theme for our discussion today is focused on women empowerment through enterprise development. Shared Interest Foundation designs and delivers innovative and transformative projects aimed at supporting smallholder producer groups across Africa and Latin America to improve their livelihood by building strong and sustainable businesses. Our projects revolve around three thematic areas, namely developing sustainable enterprises, empowering women and youths, and building climate resilience. Next slide. Our discussion today is centered on the first two themes, developing sustainable enterprises and empowering women. So it's a combination of our first two themes. Before we delve into this conversation, which will feature two of our enterprises, permit me to present a snapshot of our work in 2025. With the support of over 1,800 donors and grant makers, we delivered 15 projects working in partnership with 15 locally based partners. Our training and mentoring program built the capacity of over 1,850 farmers in areas such as climate change, sustainable farming practices, entrepreneurial skills, business and financial management. And we work with producers across a number of commodities, including coffee, cocoa, hibiscus, honey, shea, and vegetables. Our next slide. The first enterprise that I would like to talk about is the shea enterprise. For those unfamiliar with this agricultural commodity, let me present you with some basic facts about this product. Shea nut is the fruit of a shea tree, and the shea tree grows widely across the savanna region of West Africa. It grows naturally and can live up to 200 years, and in some cases, up to 500 years. It has an average height of 15 meters. It is environmentally important tree because it helps prevent soil erosion, desertification across the Sahel region, and contribute to biodiversity conservation. In Burkina Faso, it is called women's gold because it provides employment and income for many women in rural areas across the country. The main product extracted from the shea nuts tree is shea butter. Shea butter is used around the world in the cosmetic and skincare industry, food industry, traditional medicine, especially in Africa, and soap and candle production. In Burkina Faso, shea is among the country's three top agricultural export commodities after cotton and livestock. And 90% of workers within the value chain are women. Next slide. In 2022, through our partner, the PNCB, which is the Burkina Faso Fair Trade Country Network, we identify a group of women in rural Burkina Faso in the southwestern region of the country, whose main income generating activity was the collection and sale of shea nuts. Shea nut collection is a seasonal activity which lasts for 3 months, generally starting from May to July. So these women sell their shea nuts to middlemen on the local market at a very low price. They know very well they can add value to the nuts to earn extra income, but they lack the skills, the equipment, and other resources to undertake this enterprise. So in 2022, we identified 50 of these women and supported them to go into shea processing by training them in modern shea processing techniques, providing them with production kits, and link them to markets. The results of this intervention were stunning. Over 160% increase in income, with 96% of project participants reporting that they are able to make savings. In 2024, we supported an additional 40 women to go into shea processing. In all, these 90 women produce collectively 3,418 kilograms of shea butter, making a total sales of 5,335 pounds and a profit of 2,775 pounds. So by this simple intervention, giving them the skills, the kits, and the resources to process their raw shea nuts, they've been able to make a significant income that has possibly impacted their livelihoods. So in 2024 or 2025 January, I personally visited this group of women in Burkina Faso, and their average monthly income was around 29 pounds per month, insufficient to meet their household needs. And also the tools were very high in terms of costs, so they were unable to acquire them. And I talk about their low technical knowledge in mechanical shea nut processing. They also had issues of access to water, because to process 100 kilograms of shea butter, you need about 300 liters of water. And there is no source of water near the production center. So these women will have to commute over 6 kilometers round trip to access water to undertake the processing. They also reported that the manual processing was really tedious, was physically draining, and was time consuming and a very slow process. So as a result, they were not able to produce a lot using a manual approach. So based on that, in 2025, we launched another project with these women by increasing the number from 90 to 151 women. And we provided them with simple tools and equipment to mechanize the production process. We also helped them put together an infrastructure, a production center, where they'll be processing their shea butter. They also put up storage facilities where the shea nut will be stored, and also the finished products. We also assisted them, next slide. We also assisted them to build or dig a borehole to provide access to water, to prevent them from walking long distances to access water for processing of the shea butter. So the target of the mechanized enterprise was to support the shea nut collectors to establish a mechanized shea butter production enterprise, increase their shea butter production from 7.6 metric tons to 25 metric tons, and also increase their monthly income by 45%. And as I said, also provide them access to water. So this intervention took place between January 2026 to date. And next slide. This is what we have achieved so far. We've been able to help them to construct a shea butter processing facility that you can see in the picture on your left-hand side, the first picture. This is the borehole that we have helped them to install, which provide access to water not only for the processing of the shea butter, but also serve as a main source of water for the entire community of 10,000 inhabitants. You can see the machines that we have provided them. So now they have a washer, which helps them to wash the shea nuts. We have the roaster, we have a filter, and other machinery that help them now to speed up the shea processing. So manually, they were able to process 400 kilograms of shea butter a day. But with the mechanized process, they are now able to process 3,200 kilograms of shea nuts. And they have increased their output of shea butter from 35 kilograms to 1,300 metric tons kilogram. So you could see that this really has brought a total transformation in the life of the project participants. So the projected income for this enterprise is £17,000 per month, as against 4,000 that they were earning when they were doing the manual processing. So the mechanized processing is a life changer for these women and has brought smile into their face, enabled them now to achieve a lot in terms of providing food, supplying their basic necessities such as school supplies for their children. Next slide. So here we have one of the project participants who says, since I started earning some money through the share projects, my income has increased and I supply my children's school needs with ease. Most of these women, when you interview them, their children drop out of school at an early age because they do not have the resources to pay the fees or provide the basic school necessities for their children. And so most of them, you see them in the street begging because they don't have any source of income. Another project participant said that the shea project has helped me to start my own business. Now I have money to feed my children and to supply their school needs. This goes a long way to reiterate the fact that by a simple intervention in the life of women, by equipping them with the knowledge and the skills they need and giving them the basic resources, they can really help improve their living conditions and contribute to the development of their communities. Next slide. So establishing a shea butter. So this is a film that we are going to show you, which highlights this important enterprise that we set up in Burkina Faso.
C'est vraiment un immense plaisir, une grande joie d'accueillir ce projet au profit des populations de Samoghohiri. Et comme le président du Faso, le capitaine Ibrahim Traoré l'a si bien dit, il veut que nous produisons et transformons localement. Donc c'est vous dire toute la joie qui nous anime de recevoir ce joyeux qui va permettre à nos braves femmes de pouvoir transformer nos produits, nos matières premières sur place. Ça ajoutera de la plus-value à l'économie locale et à l'économie nationale.
Alors, ce projet, j'allais dire que c'est une suite, voilà, des projets antérieurs, de 2 projets antérieurs que nous avons financés ici, avec la plateforme nationale du commerce équitable, avec comme partenaire financier Share Interest. Alors, le premier projet a consisté à appuyer les femmes en kits individuels de production. Donc, elles sont là, elles faisaient le beurre de karité de façon traditionnelle. Donc, le premier projet, le problème qu'elles avaient posé, c'était le problème d'équipement individuel. Donc, le premier appui a consisté en les appuyant avec des matériels d'équipement, des kits de production individuels pour la transformation artisanale. Et par la suite, elles ont produit des résultats. Nous avons fait des bilans, nous avons fait des enquêtes. Nous nous sommes rendus compte que, en fait, ce qu'elles collectaient comme amande était insuffisamment transformé. Donc nous leur avons posé la question, pourquoi vous collectez tant d'amandes et vous transformez peu. Donc c'est là qu'elles nous ont fait comprendre que la transformation artisanale est fastidieuse. Voilà. Et il y a le problème d'eau qui n'est pas à côté, elles n'ont pas d'eau à côté, elles vont jusqu'à près de 3 km pour chercher l'eau. Donc nous avons réfléchi ensemble, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour améliorer tout cela. Donc c'est ce qui a fait naître ce nouveau projet de transformation avec des équipements mécanisés.
J'ai eu à former les femmes là sur la qualité des amandes, de la collecte jusqu'à la transformation. Maintenant, ils ont acquis les équipements. Je suis venue les montrer comment adapter, comment ils vont faire pour avoir de bons beurres de karité en qualité et en quantité. Montrer chaque machine ce qu'il fait, de la concassage, lavage, mouture, laveuse de l'émulsion et laveuse des amandes de qualité. Il y a la torréfaction aussi, il y a le filtre, je l'ai tout montré pour qu'ils puissent s'adapter à ça et avoir de bonnes qualités en quantité et en qualité suffisante.
J'ai entendu que la commune de Samoghohiri va accompagner les femmes pour la pérennisation du site. Nous entendons dans les jours à venir échanger avec les premiers responsables de la coopérative pour voir dans quelle mesure nous pouvons délimiter le site et les accompagner à sécuriser le site comme il se doit, parce que ça fait partie d'une des unités de production qui va booster l'économie de la commune de Samoghohiri. Donc, vraiment, vivement, nous allons nous engager à poursuivre cette démarche-là. Merci.
Thank you. So the three speakers were the mayor of the commune of Samoghohiri, where the project is located. We also heard from the project manager, Toro Salifu, and also for a trainer who actually trained the women in the mechanized shea butter processing. In every project that we undertake, we ensure that it's sustainable so that after our intervention, the beneficiaries should continue to grow that enterprise. So we do that by developing a strategic partnership, working with local organizations who could ensure continuous support to the women throughout the lifetime of the project. Our training also in agribusiness skills also enable the women to be able to grow the business profitably and sustainably and run it to benefit a larger number of people within their community. The training of farmers also give them the basic knowledge that will enable them to continue to grow the raw material which is needed to feed the enterprise that have been set up. So just in a nutshell, sustainability is part of the design of our project and is key for the future of the project participants. The slide. Yeah, so on this note, I'm going to hand over to Harriet Ewing, Development Officer at Shared Interest Foundation, who is going to highlight our second project that we want to feature as part of this event, empowering women through the cultivation of vegetables. Thank you.
Thank you, Kodjo. No, that was really interesting. And if you do have any questions for Kodjo, please do make use of the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll answer as many as we can at the end of this session. So for project number 2, as Kodjo said, we're moving to Nicaragua. And so this project was launched in April 2025 and was delivered in partnership with Sacaclí. So Sacaclí are a coffee and vegetable cooperative based in the Jinotega region in northern Nicaragua. They are also a customer of Shared Interest Society and have been a customer since 2018. So this project was delivered in response to the recognised need of female producers at Sacaclí, where due to cultural inequalities, female farmers face higher challenges accessing agricultural support, including inputs and land. Secondly, climate change has resulted in unpredictable rains and increased temperatures, leading to crop loss and low yields. So this has reduced the income for farming families. Since 2020, Sacaclí has supported women producers through the development of women empowerment projects, including yogurt production and commercial egg production, aimed at promoting income diversification and economic empowerment. And following a needs assessment conducted by the Technical Assistance Department at Sacaclí in 2024, a third enterprise opportunity was identified. So that was the production of chili peppers and cherry tomatoes. So these are produced using semi-hydroponic farming methods, which means the crops are grown inside greenhouses, protecting them from pests and diseases. And the use of drip irrigation technology means the crops can also grow during winter months when there is short supply, ensuring greater demand and higher price for the producers. So, as I mentioned, this project was delivered in partnership with Sacaclí and ran from April 2025 to March 2026. In total, 60 women benefited, so 40 through the production of the vegetables and 200 indirect beneficiaries. A further 20 women also received training in business and finance skills. So at the start of the project, we set some targets. So this was to establish a crop production enterprise for 40 women to increase their monthly income, to produce 8,400 units of chili peppers and 6,000 pounds of cherry tomatoes in the first 12 months of production. And we'll revisit that target at the end of this slideshow. It was also to improve the management of women-led enterprises through training for 60 women in business and finance skills. So the first activity was the construction of 2 large greenhouses for the growth of the crops. So these were fitted with drip irrigation systems for efficient watering, and troughs were constructed inside the greenhouses, filled with a nutrient fibre in replacement of soil to support the development of the crops. Through the project, the women also received training and support from technicians at Sacaclí in this method of crop production to ensure they had a strong understanding of all stages, including site preparation, planting, crop maintenance, and harvesting. This was complemented by training in financial and business management, strengthening the participants' ability to calculate production costs, understand net profit, and make informed decisions about reinvestment to support long-term business sustainability. So the first harvest started in November and continued through to March. Crops were sorted and packaged and were predominantly sold to supermarkets across Nicaragua. So the project concluded last month, and we are now able to report on some initial impact. So through the project, they produced 11,300 units of chili peppers, exceeding the initial target of 8,400 units. Cherry tomato production also exceeded the original target by over 5,300 pounds. This was hugely motivating for both the women and for Sacaclí. Following the end of project data collection, 97% of participants reported being satisfied or very satisfied with this production volume and with the income they earned from sales. All reported the production volume was higher than they expected at the start of this project, and 89% reported that the income they earned was also higher than they had been expecting. The women reported using this additional income to support with household costs, increase their savings, and reinvest into other businesses. And so this is a quote from project participant Maricela Chavaria. So she says, "It is thanks to the support of Sacaclí and Shared Interest Foundation, we women have been trained in different areas to help us grow. Our products are now being sold in supermarkets across Nicaragua, and this makes us proud as women who support and sustain our families." And so we're pleased to have another video to share with you just to help bring this project to life.
Fundada el 5 de noviembre de 1994, la Cooperativa de Servicios Múltiples, Sacaclí RL, inició con 31 socios, comprometidos en impulsar el desarrollo productivo de su comunidad. Hoy, con 431 socios activos, la cooperativa se ha consolidado como un ejemplo de organización, crecimiento y compromiso social, promoviendo el desarrollo integral de sus asociados y asociadas. Una parte fundamental de este crecimiento ha sido el empoderamiento de las mujeres, quienes desempeñan un papel clave en la producción agrícola y en la vida cooperativa. A través del grupo de empoderamiento de mujeres de la cooperativa, se ha trabajado fuertemente en el cultivo de hortalizas. Maricela Chavarría, integrante del grupo de empoderamiento de mujeres de la cooperativa Sacaclí, quien nos hablará sobre el trabajo realizado con las mujeres y su participación en la cooperativa.
Este tipo de proyectos a nosotros como mujeres nos llena de fuerza y realmente que nos empodera, porque nos hace salir de la rutina diaria de nuestras casas, de los quehaceres del hogar e incluirnos en la sociedad. Una forma de nosotros poder apoyar económicamente a nuestra familia con estos aportes que nos dan hoy en día. Somos un total de 40 mujeres las que estamos siendo beneficiadas con este proyecto, y realmente que ha sido una experiencia única para cada una de nosotros, porque hemos conocido del cultivo del tomate y del chile. Entre algunas actividades que hemos realizado ha sido la cosecha, el trasplante, estuvimos viendo el desije, el desoje, Y estos aspectos ninguna de las mujeres que estamos en el grupo los conocíamos. Para nosotros es realmente nuevo habernos incluido en este tipo de cultivo y es lo que nos hace crecer como mujer.
Conversamos con Jaime Gutiérrez, asesor técnico de la cooperativa, quien nos explica los detalles técnicos de los cultivos de hortaliza y cómo se organiza el trabajo junto a las mujeres productoras.
Estamos en un cultivo de tomate cherry, que es parte de un proyecto que se llama Empoderamiento de Mujeres a través del cultivo de hortaliza, donde tenemos 2 rubros establecidos, el cultivo de tomate cherry y el cultivo de chiles de colores. Estamos bajo un sistema protegido en invernadero y el cultivo establecido en un sustrato, una mezcla de sustratos artesanal que es elaborada por nosotros como parte de Cooperativa Sacaclí. Este cultivo pues es un cultivo no tradicional que se siembra y se cosecha para mercado formal. No es un cultivo y un rubro que se venda en mercado informal. Los 2 rubros que tenemos establecidos son para ese tipo de mercado. Cabe señalar que Cooperativa Sacaclí siempre está en la ejecución de proyectos de innovación de cara pues a en el futuro ir pasando pues estas tecnologías y estas prácticas al grupo de productores hortícolas que tenemos. Este proyecto ha sido posible gracias al apoyo pues y al financiamiento de Charity Interest Foundation, que es quien facilita los fondos para la ejecución de este proyecto, auspiciado por fondos de Cooperativa Sacaclí. A la vez pues tenemos aliados comerciales, en este caso Agroquín y Protecterra, que son aliados que nos han apoyado en el tema del desarrollo de la hidroponía y de la elaboración de soluciones nutritivas.
Hoy las mujeres son parte activa de cada paso de la cooperativa, participando en las decisiones, en la producción y en el fortalecimiento de la comunidad.
Importante destacar que gracias al apoyo de Cooperativa Sacaclí y la Fundación de Charity Interest, nosotras las mujeres hemos sido capacitadas en diferentes aspectos que nos hacen crecer. Entre estas capacitaciones hemos recibido empoderamiento de la mujer, términos básicos de contabilidad, costo y mercadeo. Es gracias a esto que nuestro producto hoy en día se está comercializando en supermercados de Nicaragua. Y esto nos hace sentir orgullosas de ser mujeres que sacan adelante a la familia.
La Cooperativa Sacaclí RL continúa creciendo con el compromiso de sus socios y socias, promoviendo la productividad, la equidad de género y la sostenibilidad ambiental. Un ejemplo de cómo el trabajo colectivo transforma vidas y comunidades.
It's a really lovely film, that. Always enjoy watching that. So, as Kodjo mentioned, with regards to the shea project, again, sustainability was key in the design of this project. So, carefully selected crops and a guaranteed market demand has resulted in profits following the first year of production, which have been reinvested to support a second planting of cherry tomatoes. Strategic partnership with Sacaclí has ensured that continuous training has been provided to the women throughout the project, enabling them to build the skills that they will need to be able to operate the enterprise independently. In recognition of project significance, Sacaclí also committed staff and funds to support continuous growth. And the end result has been a group of women who are empowered and committed to the continued growth of this enterprise. So I'm going to stop there, but I'm delighted to be joined by Jaime, who you saw in that film. So he is going to answer some further questions and just provide a little bit more of an overview of the impact of this project. So I'll invite Jaime to turn on his camera and audio, and also our Grants and Trusts fundraiser, Emma, who will be helping with the Spanish translations. So thank you both.
Hola, Hola Jaime, ¿qué tal? ¿Nos oyes?
Sí, todo bien.
Perfect. So the first question, could you explain how the initial idea for this project was developed? Was this a new activity for Sacaclí or something you had previous experience with?
Entonces, ¿cómo se desarrolló la idea inicial del proyecto? ¿Y era algo en lo que Sacaclí ya tenía experiencia o se trataba de una actividad nueva?
Bueno, para nosotros como asesores técnicos el tema de hidroponía ya lo habíamos iniciado, aunque para el grupo de mujeres el cultivo y el manejo del cultivo sí era nuevo. Ya había algún inicio de un grupo de empoderamiento de mujeres, el cual había trabajado una granja avícola y también la elaboración de yogur. Entonces, esa fue como la base y también la oportunidad que existía en el mercado fue lo que nos impulsó a proponer este proyecto para mujeres.
So Jaime was saying that the production of these crops was a new activity for the women, and they didn't have any experience with the tomato and chili peppers previously. However, they had been in contact with 2 technical advisors about the management of hydroponic systems, and so they did have a bit of experience with the new technology. And in terms of the Women's Empowerment Project, they did a smaller project that only involved women, which was around the production of yogurt with cow's milk and also on managing poultry farms. So those were what really inspired the theme of women's empowerment within the new project.
Thank you. And so why was this activity selected as the most suitable to meet the needs of the women? And what considerations were made with regards to the local climate and local cultural context?
Entonces, ¿por qué esta actividad era la más adecuada para satisfacer las necesidades de las mujeres, teniendo en cuenta el entorno local, el clima y las oportunidades económicas disponibles para ellas?
Bueno, una de las situaciones es de que la zona sí presta las condiciones para el establecimiento de los cultivos tanto de cherry como de chiles. Una oportunidad también era el precio de venta de este producto, que está muy por encima de un tomate o de un chile convencional. Entonces, a pesar de que era un cultivo nuevo, de que requiere tecnología alta, los ingresos por venta son buenos porque los precios de los productos en el mercado son mucho más altos. Entonces, sí tenemos condiciones buenas de clima, aunque en el invierno era un problema producir este producto, pues nadie lo produce, muy poca gente en invierno por el tema de la tecnología. Entonces fue una de la visión que nosotros tuvimos de hacer algo, de tener producto en el invierno, que es donde la demanda es mayor.
So the products, these crops, the chili peppers and the tomatoes, were chosen given the fact that they would generate the highest profits for the women overall, and also the area in which the cooperative and the women are based is the most optimal for the production of these crops. And there was also a gap in the market to sell these products in the supermarkets at a good price, because there is less competition, because these are new methods of farming that haven't been used before. So it makes the chili peppers and tomatoes stand out through their quality and rates of production. And also in winter, considering the climate, the women can face more difficulties in crop production. However, with the technology used through the products, it means there's a higher market demand and they're able to sell the vegetables throughout the year. And that also means that they can adapt well to the climate shocks during winter.
Thank you. And so what was the initial reaction of the women to this new farming method? Were they confident that it would be successful, or were they a bit hesitant?
¿Y cuál fue la reacción inicial de las mujeres ante este nuevo método de cultivo? ¿Se mostraron optimistas o escépticas?
Sí se mostraron optimistas porque además de que el proyecto las iba a empoderar en el manejo del cultivo, así como en el manejo financiero de ellas, pues ellas tenían buenas expectativas. Además que siempre manifestaron de que este trabajo la sacaba un poco de la rutina de casa y también eso para ellas pues era un poco bueno porque salían de la rutina y a la vez estaban trabajando en algo que les iba a generar buenos ingresos. Pues. Entonces había muy buenas expectativas y creo que ahora que ya hemos cosechado el primer ciclo, aún tienen mejores expectativas para el futuro porque el resultado superó lo que esperábamos inicialmente.
So when the women first heard about the project, they were very optimistic, especially considering its focus on empowerment, as this also, as well as farming, this provided the women with an opportunity to manage their own finances, which is an activity they hadn't had experience in before. And they were also excited at the prospect of kind of changing their home lives and being involved in a new routine in activities they hadn't done before and having the opportunity to manage their own workload themselves. And they obviously were able to generate their own income through this project as well. So they were very hopeful at the start of the project, and their expectations and hopes have continued to grow after the success of the project as well.
Excellent. So can Jaime share any details of any challenges that came up during the delivery of the project? And in his opinion, what have been the project's greatest achievements or successes?
¿Y cuáles han sido los principales retos y los mayores logros del proyecto, Jaime?
Los que hubieron al inicio o futuros.
Al inicio, por favor.
Al inicio. Okay. Bueno, creo que uno de los principales retos al inicio era la posibilidad de que tuvieran un terreno ellas. Y el otro tema en ese momento era la disponibilidad de agua. En ese sentido, Cooperativa Sacaclí les ha facilitado a ellas un terreno donde se establecieron los invernaderos. A la vez se construyó un pozo artesiano, que es donde se hace las labores de riego y todo lo que requiera agua para el proyecto. Eso era en el tema de la instalación. Creo que los mayores logros, pues, es lograr tener un grupo grande de mujeres organizados, viendo con un mismo objetivo, que es empoderarse y ser actores económicos que aporten a la familia, pues a los gastos de la familia en general. También creo que otro de los mayores logros es el tema de la cosecha y el ingreso. Inicialmente se esperaba un volumen menor en el caso de tomate, que era de 4.000 a 5.000 libras, y llegamos hasta el momento a 11.300 libras. Y en el caso de Chile se esperaba también menos, pues 8.000 unidades, y sacamos más de 10.000 unidades. Esto traducido en ingresos, pues creo que aporta en general un ingreso en poco tiempo de más de $500 por cada beneficiario.
So at the start of the project, one of the biggest challenges that the women faced was the availability and accessibility of land for the women in order to be able to start the production of the crops. However, the Sacaclí Co-operative have supported the women throughout this progress and guaranteed access for them through, for example, the construction of greenhouses within the project. And there was also a difficulty around knowledge of how to manage the crops in the area, as it obviously wasn't an activity women had experience in before. However, this was also managed through training through the project with Shared Interest Foundation. And in terms of achievements, one of the greatest achievements for the cooperative was just seeing the women working together towards the same objective as a big group, as a big empowered group, and just allowing the women to become economically self-sufficient was a really big achievement for the cooperative. And the outcomes have been exceeded within the project as well. So, for example, the original target for cherry tomatoes was to grow 4,000 pounds of tomatoes, and to date, the 11,300 pounds of tomatoes have been harvested. And with the chili peppers, the original target was 8,400 units, and to date, there are 10,381 units that have been harvested, and this is in a small space of time as well as in a small area of 600 meters squared. So, and the women have been able to develop profits of around $500 per beneficiary. So it's a really promising project, and it's exceeded the expectations of the women as well.
Mm-hmm. And so, final question now for Jaime. So now that the official project with Shared Interest Foundation has ended, what are the plans for the continuation of activities, and what's the future ambition for this enterprise?
Y la última pregunta, Jaime. Ahora que el proyecto oficial ha finalizado, ¿continuarán las actividades y cómo seguirá Sacaclí apoyando a las mujeres? ¿Y qué oportunidades ofrece este proyecto de cara al futuro?
Bueno, sí, ya está continuando, porque ya tenemos un siguiente ciclo de cultivo. Ya estamos cosechando tomate cherry de un nuevo establecimiento. Igual tenemos semilleros o plántulas de chile para un nuevo establecimiento. Y la cooperativa pues está siempre apoyando con la asesoría técnica al grupo de mujeres para que las labores y las actividades se hagan de la mejor manera. A la par de eso también ha surgido una oportunidad de extendernos un poco en establecer una nueva área para producción de tomate tipo manzano, pues, para ensalada. Entonces, creo que estamos creciendo y las mujeres pues están empoderándose aún más porque están viendo las oportunidades de mercado y el apoyo que se les está brindando tanto como cooperativa Sacaclí.
¿Y había discusiones sobre un nuevo proyecto sobre alimentación escolar también?
Sí, es una ONG que requiere productos para merienda escolar. Entonces creo que en ese sentido se va a incluir cierta producción de las mujeres orientada a ese proyecto. Sí.
Vale, gracias. So the activities are now still being carried out by the women. They have already started a new batch of cherry tomatoes, which are already being harvested, and this new batch has already produced 900 pounds of tomatoes. And there are also plans to start a new chili harvest soon. And so it's evident that the motivation within the women is continuous as well. And the cooperative also continues supporting the women, whether this is through technical advice or the use of water for irrigation, and also in accessing land without additional costs. So the cooperative will continuously support the women with those aspects of the project. And the women are hoping to develop new market opportunities. For example, there have been ongoing discussions about a new project with a school and the school is interested in the women providing the products for their school meals, and they're interested in the fact that they have been produced solely by women and all the products are as organic as they can be. So that's a new market opportunity for the women as well, and they're hoping to continue to develop that into more market opportunities in the future.
No, that's great. It's been really excellent to see such significant impact within the first 12 months. So we look forward to seeing how the project develops over the next couple of years. So we're now going to move to the final section of the session, which is the open Q&A. So if you do have any questions for Codro or Jaime on either project, please do add them to the Q&A box and we will answer as many as we can. So I'll give Jaime a rest and we'll start off with you, Codro. So the first question is in relation to the production of shea. So how sustainable is shea nut production locally? Are there any threats to the long-term conservation of shea trees in the region of Burkina Faso where we're working?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Harriet, for the question. Shea tree is a tree that grows in the wild, and as I said earlier on, can live up to 500 years maximum. So every year there is a harvest. The only threat that it faces is sometimes people cutting down trees to use the wood for firewood at home. And there is a campaign going against that. So long as we continue to protect the shea trees, I think that there will be a continuous supply of the shea nuts that will continue to feed the shea industry. So it's a very sustainable enterprise, and of late, some cooperatives have started even planting the shea trees in order to replace those that are being cut off, and also to increase the volume of shea harvested every year. So we believe that it's a very sustainable enterprise for these women, so long as there is a permanent source of raw material, supply of raw material to the industry.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So this question is for Jaime. So it was great to hear that the production volume has exceeded original targets. Does he have an idea as to why it's been so good and things that they will replicate in the future?
Jaime, una pregunta para ti. Es excelente que el volumen de producción ha superado los objetivos originales. ¿Y sabe cuál fue la razón? ¿Había una razón específica, crees?
De que haya superado la producción.
Sí, los objetivos originales.
Correcto. Creo que uno de los aspectos importantes ha sido el manejo. Sí, el manejo hidropónico ha sido excelente porque se ha utilizado fertilizantes líquidos exclusivamente y han sido muy funcionales, ¿no? Lo otro que ha aportado a esto es el manejo oportuno de las labores en el cultivo. Como es un grupo grande de mujeres, han logrado hacer las actividades siempre en tiempo y forma. Creo que otro aspecto importante es la permanencia en la asesoría. Entonces, hemos estado dándole seguimiento diario al cultivo, entonces no hay oportunidad de que se nos presenten plagas o enfermedades que limiten el rendimiento. Creo que otro aspecto también es la variedad. La variedad de ambos cultivos pues brinda un rendimiento bastante alto, aunque según los registros todavía está superado pues, para la variedad. Creo que también un poco la tecnología pues, de cobertura, el estar en invernadero nos brinda condiciones que no tenemos al estar afuera. Creo que eso es parte de lo que ha aportado mucho a que hayamos superado la meta en cuanto a producción.
Gracias, Jaime. So there was a variety of reasons as to why the women have exceeded the expectations regarding the targets, but a big part of this was the management within the women and within the cooperative, because they did manage to get consultations about the hydroponic systems, and so the training for those systems was very strong, and it worked well within the cooperative because of the technical expertise already present. And there was also a big group of women, and as they were all working together, they were able to share knowledge and keep each other up to date with the crops and the crop production and the progress. So they were constantly checking on the crops and making sure that there was no pests and diseases or any traces, and just regularly updating each other. As well as the technology used within the project, so those hydroponic systems, they were able to mitigate any climate shocks that were present, especially within the winter months.
Thank you. So this question is for both Jaime and Codro. So I'll let you translate it first, Emma, for Jaime to answer, and then we'll move to Codro. So both projects are focused on empowering women. So how are the men in the communities responding to these projects? Have they been in support, or has there been any conflicts?
Entonces, Jaime, ¿por qué el proyecto se centra en el empoderamiento de las mujeres? ¿Cómo respondieron los hombres al proyecto? ¿Han apoyado a las mujeres o hay un poco de conflicto?
Con sus esposos, su marido.
Sí, por ejemplo, sí.
Sí, que lo escuché un poco cortado, por eso le consultaba.
Entonces,
¿Me escucha bien?
Sí, sí. Entonces hay una reacción.
Si me puede repetir la pregunta.
Entonces, los hombres, por ejemplo, los esposos, ¿apoyan a las mujeres en el proyecto o hay conflicto porque debido al empoderamiento de las mujeres o no?
Yo creo que totalmente ha habido apoyo por parte de sus compañeros, sus esposos, ¿no? Porque incluso a veces en actividades que ellos las pueden apoyar, las han apoyado. Igual pues se ha permitido de que cuando alguna no puede realizar alguna labor, pues el marido puede hacerla, pues en un trabajo más rústico. Entonces sí ha habido bastante apoyo de parte de los esposos de las mujeres, y también lo han visto bueno porque ha sido una actividad que les ha generado ingresos, pues lo cual también a ellos les aporta en lo que es el gasto del hogar. Entonces, para nada, no ha habido conflicto alguno, y todo ha sido pues bastante excelente en cuanto al apoyo por parte de los hombres.
Vale, gracias. So the response from the men in regards to the Women's Empowerment Project in Sacaclí has been very positive. And for example, the husbands of the women involved in the projects have supported them and also helped them if necessary, and given them advice if necessary. And they're also supportive because it helps them bring in their income to the home. And this hasn't resulted in any conflict as far as Jaime is aware.
Great. Same to you, Codro.
Yeah, the similar situation also in Burkina Faso with the shea project. First of all, the land on which we constructed the shea processing facility was donated by the men of the cooperative, just to show their support to the project. And anytime I visit and I organize meetings, you see men are always involved and around, giving the moral support to their women, because they know that any income made by the women would definitely help support the upkeep of the home, because the responsibility of taking care of the children, providing food for the household, and paying school fees solely fall on the women. And for that matter, if they have a source of income the men do not have any other choice than to support that initiative, because that will help build the financial resilience of the household. So there was no conflict at all perceived, but rather very happy that the project has come to stay and really is boosting the economic and social empowerment of the women.
Thank you. So final question of this session, which I will direct to you, Kodjo. So aside from the production of shea butter, are there any other products which can be produced from shea? And is this something the group may consider in the future?
Say from shea?
Yes.
Yeah, apart from the butter, they can also do a shea soap from the shea butter. So that's also another commodity to be considered. They are also able to make a shea oil, which you use in cooking at home. So those two products could equally be considered by the projects going into the future.